Howdy folks, it's another day, another time for a video I guess. Hope you guys are doing okay. Hey, by the way, can you dig my shirt? Saddle Tramps, Custom Cycle Garage. Pretty cool, huh? And well, cheesy stuff. Anyways, I'm sure that you guys seen my last video about another project. So I'm going to show you what my garage looks like now. I hardly got any moved room. Check this out. There's that shovel right there, and the Tramp is kind of squeezed in here. There's my soft tail over here, Ironhead project over here. Getting kind of hard to move around, so now I have to move motorcycles around just to do anything in this garage. But that's that. So I'm about to do something different. I have some more parts to add to the Ironhead. I got me a new set of points and condenser from Drag Specialties and a set of timing advance weights. I was reading in the manual, after so many miles or so much time, you're supposed to replace these things. So I'm going to do that. I haven't messed with points in a very long time, since 2002, which was my first Harley Davidson, which was an Ironhead, and I had to deal with those then. So I'm going to see what all I can remember. This is by no means a tutorial, by the way. It's just me giving you guys an update on what I'm doing with this bike right here. I just want to see what's going on, and perhaps the thing will run better. See, once this thing warms up and gets good and warm, it doesn't really want to stay idling. And I've adjusted the carburetor so much, so I'm hoping that maybe it might be something in the ignition system. The points, condenser, flyweights, stuff like that. Since they're so old, they ought to be replaced anyway after so much time. So let's see what happens, and let's see what we got. And that's that much closer I get to the shovelhead project. Like I said in my last video, I'm not starting on that shovelhead project until I finish this thing right here. Well, get this thing into a relative sense of running condition, because there's really Ironheads they're a bottomless pit. You got to be a mechanic and you got to be hands-on to own one of these if you want to ride them. So here goes nothing. Okay, I've got the points and condenser out, the old ones. They really don't look that bad, and these advanced weights don't really seem to feel much different than the new ones. But who knows? Now this has got some serious spring action compared to this one. But by the time I put it all in, maybe I will see a difference in it. Also, I was thinking too, once the Tramp, the ignition goes out on it, I mean, God forbid it does, this bike here has a bastard ignition from an 86 to 90 ECM. There's underneath this plate right here. It's something that you can't get anymore. When I went to replace it after the first one went out, I couldn't find one, and I don't want to say I couldn't find one. When I eventually found one, people wanted well over $250 for them because they were such a rare item. So I'm thinking to myself, once that goes out, you know, what am I going to do? So I'm figuring if it makes no difference when I put these in the Ironhead as far as how it runs, you know, then I'm going to save these parts, because I know for sure I can run points in that bike. Some of you guys out there might think that's a big mistake, but you know, I don't know what else to do. I mean, I could get a single fire ignition system for, who knows, maybe points could be better, because every chance I get I'm going to travel on the Tramp. So not heard a lot of good things about those single fire ignitions. You know, they don't last long or whatever. I'm thinking, well, I could always use points and carry this extra set of points along with me. And that's something you can definitely remedy on the side of the road. Your ignition system goes out, your solid state one goes out when you're out on the road. Basically, on something like these, you know, these points, these contacts, they wear down after a while, and then you got to readjust the gap and stuff like that. Electronic ignition is better in that sense is that you don't have to adjust anything. But if it ever goes out, and they do go out sometimes, and you're far away from home, what do? You know, because you can't fix that on the side of the road. So who knows, maybe one day the Tramp will go to points. I know I can make this work in the Tramp, and I know this can go in the Tramp, and I'll show you why I know this. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's a little notch right there. It bolts up against the cam, and there's a little groove right there on the cam. And when it just so happens on my Evo, on my Sportster, and I'm guessing all the other later model Sportsters, on that motor it has that same type of groove. So that's another reason I know I can make some points work in the Tramp. But anyway, on with business with this thing. Okay, there it is in there. So now the next thing I have to do is that the recommendation for gapping these things is supposed to have about between 18 to 21 or 22 thousandths of a gap. So what happens is that there's lobes on this cam, and it causes this thing to open and close, and it's not supposed to have any more than like a 20 thousandths or 21 thousandths, but the minimum is 18. So I'm going to try and set this thing to 18 thousandths with my new feeler gauge that I've bought several months ago that I haven't put to use yet. So let's see how this goes. See if I can get this right. Well, I think I've got it. Something I haven't been used to for a long time. So I got my gap set 18 thousandths, the best I can get it. I don't know how well you can see that. And there's two lobes on here because this thing opens twice every revolution, but it turns out my gap wasn't the same every time. When you have an uneven gap on each lobe, you take one of these, and then not one of those alone, and something like this, a piece of aluminum, and just knock this shaft here, this cam shaft here, and knock it there, and you know, try to get the gap even, because this is movable. I don't know if it's going to run, so let's see what happens now. Well, I did something wrong, so back to the drawing board. As you can tell now, the change of shirt indicates that this is now day 2. I got the battery on a charger. After so many attempts of trying to get the thing started and running, I thought maybe it was something with those new points and condenser. I said, well, my old points and condenser, at least it started up better than that and stayed running somewhat. So I thought, well, maybe I'll put the old ones back in, and I got the same results. So apparently it's something that I did. So I consulted with my friends on Facebook and the Ironhead Facebook group and told them what was going on, and they mentioned something to me about setting my static timing, which, okay, that's a new avenue for me. So I went out and bought me one of these things. It's an ohm meter, and I take this thing and take these leads here and hook a lead there, and I hook another lead to a ground somewhere else, and set this instrument here to where whenever I rotate this thing here, when it beeps, then therefore my static timing is set after I get my timing mark on my flywheel in the middle of the hole on the other side. Okay, I did just what I said I was going to do. And you see, I have the bike in fourth gear. I would bump the wheel with my thumb over the spark plug hole until I would feel some compression. Then I would stop, because that means I'm coming up on top dead center with the front cylinder. And so what I did is that I kept bumping this wheel while keeping my eye on that little hole right there where I took that cover off. And the timing mark revealed itself. I don't know if you guys can see that line in there. So I got it lined up in the center of that hole like it's supposed to. So that tells me that the number one cylinder, the piston here, is at top dead center. And now what I'm going to do is come over here. I'm going to hook this meter up and hook a ground somewhere or in here, and take my positive lead and hook it on that point. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to manipulate this plate back around until eventually I hear a beep or something happens with this instrument right here. Well, something is not right. I've just about got this plate all the way moved, and it's not wanting to even reach a lobe. So something's going on. I'm not quite sure what it is. What in the world is this? Guys, look at this crap. Well, you probably can't see it. This is my old one, and this is my new one. And look at this. Now, I don't know if you can tell. The new one, the smaller lobe is number one cylinder, and the wider lobe is for the back cylinder. And look how this one is almost center in reference to that slot. And this lobe right here is offset quite a bit. I would say about 10 degrees perhaps. Apparently that's the reason I cannot seem to set my static timing, because it's not getting anywhere near that front lobe like it needs to get to in order to make a reading, because it's offset. And that is on the fault of the manufacturer. And I usually have good luck with drag Specialties, but I would say that this is the first time they've let me down. But taking the measurements with my micrometers, this cam is still good, so I guess I'm just going to go with the original cam. And I just can't believe this. So let's see what happens now. Okay, did my process all over again. Turned my back wheel again some more while it's in gear. Put my thumb over the spark plug hole until I felt some compression. Then took my thumb off and watched in this little window and got it center once more. So now to get back around to the other side, let's see if I can set my static timing with the correct kind of lobe this time around. Once I advance this cam all the way this way and I hear that noise go off, I'll know my timing is set. So let's see if it's already there. It seems like it opened up too much, even though you heard the sound go off. So I need to reposition this plate. Alright, let's try it again. The gap was still kind of big. So I'm going to try it again, move it some more, try it again. Yeah, I think that's it. I have to advance that thing pretty hard as far as I can get it until that noise quits. I'll say that my static timing is set. So I'm going to lock these things down. Get this out of the way. Put my condenser back in. Okay, hot wire and put it right here. My condenser wire goes here. I'm going to close up the hole on the other side where my inspection hole is, where you guys saw the line. And I'm going to put my plugs back on, the plug wires back on, and we'll see how well this thing fires up. Okay, the spark plugs are back in. The motorcycle is in neutral. The inspection hole is covered up. Battery is charged. Mixture screws turned out about 1 3/4 of a rotation. So, let's see how this goes. Timing is set, so I only imagine though it's a matter of finding that sweet spot where it likes to sit and idle until it warms up. And then after that, put on new tires, put some mid controls on it, fix the headlight, and maybe the front brake, and some other things I'm forgetting, like a way to secure the battery. And it may actually be a rideable motorcycle. But anyway, thank you guys for sticking it out with me, and thank you guys for watching. And if you like what you saw, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button for more content. Who knows what's coming up next, but I usually try to keep it interesting. Anyway, thank you guys, and you guys be good to yourselves. Thanks a lot.